Today we have a highly anticipated triple bass episode, well, probably more likely highly anticipated by me personally. We are going to take 3 high-aged ryes with vastly different price points and put them head-to-head to see which one wins out. Today it's Michter's 10-year single barrel rye versus Knob Creek 10-year rye versus Master's Keep Triumph. This one should be a fun one to taste through. Stay here to see who wins. It's the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C, and welcome back to the Mash and Drum. Like, subscribe, and help me get to 100,000 subscribers for 2024. We're inching closer. We're almost at about 91,000 subscribers, so appreciate the support. As always, if you have any suggestions for some head-to-head matchups, leave them below in the comments. And before we get started, let's dive in to hear from today's video sponsor. It's actually something I had for breakfast this morning. It's Magic Spoon. All right, today we are talking about Magic Spoon. Remember when you were young and you could eat like 2 or 3 bowls of your favorite cereal without worrying about the sugar or the calories? Even late at night, I'd eat about 2 bowls of cereal right before bedtime. Well, unfortunately, those times have come and gone, and I have to watch what I eat and be more health focused. Luckily, I found Magic Spoon, the perfect high protein cereal that gives me all I need but still can take me back to my childhood with all these delicious flavors. Without all the sugar, Magic Spoon is really the perfect cereal to have either in the morning before my workouts or to fuel up back after I work out. It's also a great tasting snack if you need something sweet. And if cereal's not your thing, they also have these high protein cereal bars that are great for when you're on the go. They contain about 10 grams of protein and they're pretty delicious. Now, what's great about Magic Spoon cereals is they have 0 grams of sugar. That's right, 0. They have about 13 to 14 grams of protein and about 4 to 5 net grams of carbs for each serving. Each serving is around 140 calories. They're also keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. So for me, cutting down on carbs and sugar while still feeling like you're eating something flavorful, I think is what Magic Spoon does perfectly. Now they have some incredible flavors like fruity, frosted, they have a birthday cake flavor, but my favorite flavors include peanut butter and cocoa, and also blueberry muffin. But honestly, mixing peanut butter and cocoa is the move. I'm just saying, yeah, this is my go-to combination pretty much every morning. Peanut butter and chocolate, classic combo right there. In fact, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's packed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll just refund your money, no questions asked. So it's time to go order your 6-pack. Use my code MASH to get $5 off your delicious high-protein Magic Spoon cereal by clicking the link in the description. You can build your very own 6-pack variety box, add blueberry muffin, get that peanut butter and cocoa, along with some of their other featured flavors like fruity, frosted, maple waffle, and even birthday cake. So click that link below and use the code MASH for $5 off your variety box. That's right, you don't have to hide from cereal anymore. Just eat Magic Spoon. All right, so today's matchup, first up is the Michter's 10-year single barrel rye. The release is a single barrel product, a bottle from stocks that are over 10 years old and have been selected by Michter's production team. This is the 2024 release, coming in at 92.8 proof with an SRP of $200. Next is the new kid on the block, which is a permanent new addition to the Jim Beam small batch Knob Creek lineup. It's the Knob Creek 10-year rye, bottled at the usual 100 proof from Knob Creek and bumping the age from 7 years to 10 years. This is the cheapest option in the lineup today, priced at $70. And finally, we have Master's Keep Triumph, the oldest age-stated rye whiskey ever to be released by Wild Turkey, sporting a 10-year age statement. This rye reportedly has 12-year whiskey blended in as well. It's bottled at 104 proof and the most expensive of the 3 at $275. All right, so as per usual, if this is your first time watching a triple bass episode, basically what I do is I taste through them, I rate the nose, I rate the palate, and I rate the finish, and the glass with the most points wins. So I'm gonna just mix these around one more time. All right, let's start. Let's go with glass A. Here we go. Ooh, the first nose is pretty savory. Savory, sweet, definitely get the oak. I feel like we'll get a good amount of oak on all 3 of these, which may make it a little bit more difficult to discern. There's definitely a nice little sweetness here. Almost get a little bit of a bubblegum note on this one. And that's a note I don't normally get a lot, at least me personally. All right, so oak, sweet, a little bit of a bright fruit note here too, but a nice little savory punch to it on the nose as well. All right, second glass. All right, this one's a little bit more integrated, a little bit darker, richer, sweeter. This one is all candied, vanilla, caramel, toffee. Not really getting a lot of rye spice in here. I think there's a hint of it there, but for the most part, it's really sweet. Very candy forward overall. Okay, let's go to the third one. Oh, same thing here, but this one adds a little bit more. So this one probably has the biggest oak influence out of all three so far, and a little bit of like a dusty note to it. This one's minty, sweet candy. That's good. That one might be my favorite nose because I just think it has a little bit more of everything together. This one's probably the sweetest, I think, in number 2. And number 1 is probably the most rye-like. I think I get the most savory notes off of number 1. But I feel like number 3 has a little bit of everything. It's sweet, it's got the spice that I want in a rye, and it's got a nice little age note to it from the oak. So number 3 for the win on the nose. So let's go to the palate and let's see what we get. Number 1 just has a beautiful rye spice to it. Really good aged oak here. There's a really nice mintiness there up front on the palate, some black pepper. As it works its way back, the caramels, the vanillas really kind of work its way through. A little bit of a drying aspect on the back end of this one too, I think, with that oak presence, but a really nice even keel experience. Do one more sip here. This one has a really nice balance of sweet and oak, none of which are overpowering. It's very kind of even keel through and through. Man, that first glass is getting sweeter the more I drink it too. I think that bubblegum note, a little bit of the bright fruit note is actually starting to punch through here too the more I sip it. That one's really good. And I like the little sneaky finish that it has on the end. We'll get to finish a little bit, you know, in the next round, but as far as palate goes, really solid start here. All right, let's go to number 2. Now, number 2 for me was the sweetest on the nose. All right, let's see what we got on the palate. Number 2, there's definitely some more depth going on versus number 1, but also what number 2 has is, man, again, just like the nose, this more enhanced sweetness that it has. This is all candy and for a rye whiskey, that's crazy. Just a ton of vanilla and almost like a toffee molasses combination. It's really dark and rich. I don't know if I'm getting a ton of oak here. Yeah, the oak is showing up on the back end. I'm actually getting a little bit of a coffee bean note on the very end of this one too. I do like 2/1 on the palate. I will say though, I think number 1 has a better finish than number 2 though, which is interesting. But palate wise, number 2 definitely has more stuff going on overall, which I really like. All right, let's go to number 3. Now number 3 won for me on the nose. Let's see how it does on the palate. Okay. This is an interesting tasting because that one threw me for a loop. I thought I might have known what number 2 was, but now I'm not sure anymore. Now after trying number 3. Number 3 gives you a ton of sweetness up front. Again, more that vanilla toffee type aspect, but then the finish hits you with, that's where like the minty, the rye, all those like beautiful rye flavors kind of kick in. The mintiness, a hint of citrus, the tea, like the black tea note, and a little bit drying too, to kind of, you know, on top of that. So I really do feel like 1 and 3 have the most oak influence, possibly. I actually, when you kind of go through these 3, I am getting a little bit of a dill note on the very back end of number 3. But that's the finish part. I'm just talking about palate overall. Man, I don't know which one I like between 2 and 3. I don't think 1 is really good, but I don't think 2 and 3 are just on another level here. Yeah, 2, I'm starting to get more citrus, more coffee bean here. Nice little molasses note. Let's go to number 3. Man, I do not know. Palate, I think I gotta give to number 2. Number 2 just has a really delicious palette of flavors. I just love those dark, rich notes, the coffee bean, the molasses, a little bit of that spice is there, along with the citrus. 3 is almost there. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give the palate to number 2. So we have nose for number 3 and we have palate for number 2. Now it's just gonna come down to finish. Number 1, unfortunately, is kind of out on this one, even though I think 1 has a really nice finish, but there's no way 1 can win. So I'm gonna focus my attention here on 2 and 3. I think 2 has a sneaky long finish, but man, but again, it's all that sweetness. Let's go number 3. I'm actually gonna test number 1. It's close. It's really close. I think overall for depth of flavor and the length of the finish combined, I think 1 might have the longest finish, but number 3 I actually think has the best finish because it's slightly, I'm not gonna say it's as long as number 1, but there's more going on in the finish of number 3 overall. So number 3 is gonna take it, which is interesting. This might be the first time that a nose and a finish has won over a palate. Usually they're kind of intertwined, but I love the palate on number 2. So, okay. So here are my guesses. I think that number 1 is the Knob Creek. I thought number 2 was the turkey, but now I might be leaning towards number 3 being the turkey. I don't know, but when I reviewed the Triumph, I felt like it was a short finish, so it could be number 2. I don't know. All right, let's find out. So, 3rd place here, but still a really good whiskey. Is this the Knob Creek? It is. So this is the Knob Creek 10-year, the brand new Knob Creek 10-year, guys, for $70. This is a great rye for the money. I think if you're looking for a nice high-age rye whiskey, I think this Knob Creek 10-year does it. So it's down to the Wild Turkey Triumph, a $275 bottle, and the Michter's 10-year single barrel for 2024, which is a $200 bottle. So a difference of about $75 to $100, depending on where you are. Let's see what number 3 was. Wow, let's talk about this. Coming in on 2nd place is the Wild Turkey Triumph, which means out of this matchup, Michter's 10-year won it for me. And I'll say this is surprising, but not so much surprising. I actually thought the Masters Keep Triumph would do a little bit better when it came to the overall experience versus the Michter's 10-year single barrel. But the Michter's 10-year single barrel rye this year I think is actually really, really good. And even though it's a lower proof, the Michter's actually had a longer finish going on. I love the nose on the Michter's over the Masters Keep Triumph. I think the nose on the Michter's had a little bit more going on. It had a little bit more of a funkiness to it. I like the mix of rye and sweet that the Michter's had versus the Triumph, whereas the Triumph was just all candy. I'm telling you, if you like a really, really sweet rye whiskey, it's gonna be hard to top the Triumph this year. I don't think I've had a rye whiskey as sweet that's not finished like the Masters Keep Triumph. However, the one thing that I did say in the review that I think came to fruition here is the lack of finish for me on the Masters Keep Triumph. And then you have the Knob Creek 10-year at 70. So again, the year of the rye whiskey, I think here in 2024 is shown in all 3 of these examples. 3 completely different profiles, 3 completely different price points, but the Michter's 10-year single barrel wins out. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this triple base matchup. We put the new Knob Creek 10-year rye versus the Masters Keep Triumph versus the Michter's 10-year single barrel. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, hit the subscribe button below. Please hit the like button. And if you haven't yet, follow me on Instagram. Again, let me know down in the comments any other suggestions you guys have. I love doing these with you, all based on your suggestions. So this was a really good one. All right, so before we sign off, let's blend them together. So we need a name for this rye. Let's call this one, let's see, we have Masters Keep, we have Michter's, we have Knob Creek. Let's call this Masters Mob, the Masters Mob blend. Tons of sweet rye spice. Damn, it actually smells incredible. Okay, this has potential. Let's try it. Oh my God. This might be the best after episode blend of triple base, double base that has ever happened. This is really good. That's the best ever. Masters Mob blend. Write it down. Knob Creek 10-year, a little bit of Triumph, and some Michter's 10-year single barrel rye. That is stellar. I'm just gonna go off on a high note. Cheers, guys.